Hey, friends! I watched this movie recently, and I got the hankering to go out in the woods and experience nature. So I'm out here in the wilderness. As you can see, I've been hiking for hours, and now I'm far away from all that yucky civilization stuff. So I need to take a rest here after all that hiking, and while I do, I may as well review this movie for you. We're taking a look at My Side of the Mountain, not to be confused with another movie called The Other Side of the Mountain from 1975. That was a romantic melodrama about a skier who has an accident. Our movie is a family film from 1969. Our story goes like this. Young Sam Gribley is a budding naturalist who wants to follow in the footsteps of his hero, Henry David Thoreau. His dad was supposed to take him on a big camping trip out to the woods, but had to back out due to work responsibilities. So the kid does the same thing any other kid would do. He essentially runs away and goes by himself. Well, alone with his pet raccoon, anyway. Like, his parents let him have a pet raccoon. What's up with that? They live in an apartment, too. You sure the management there wouldn't care for a raccoon as a pet? Anyway, he makes his way from the city out into the wilderness. Over time, he learns new skills, makes mistakes and learns from them, takes up falconry, and pretty much fends for himself. Oh no! Look at how much danger this little kid is in climbing up this huge cliff. Oh wait. There we go. Well, that's better. He also makes some new friends, like this traveling folk singer guy who helps him out, and a local librarian in a nearby village. Eventually, he learns some hard lessons, comes into his own, and kind of grows up. This movie is based on a book that still winds up on lists of the best kids' books ever made. It tells the tale of a young boy who just decides to leave home and family in the city and go to live at his great-grandfather's abandoned farm. The movie changes a few details, of course. They omit the family farm angle, and some events, like an ice storm, is excised from the book, and the ending is different. They also move the action from New York City and the Catskill Mountains to Canada, with the city being Toronto and the wilderness in the province of Quebec. They also have this as a contemporary tale rather than one set in the past. The author, Jean Craighead George, was the real deal, so far as being a naturalist anyway. But she never left home to go live in the woods like our hero, Sam Gribley. So while some of the survivalist techniques were entirely legit, the story was totally fiction. People who visit the small town in New York, supposedly near the farm, still ask where the farm is. It never existed. She wrote some sequels to My Side of the Mountain, as well as a lot of other kids' books, mostly focused on the environment and nature. In our cast is no one you ever heard of, probably, with the possible exception of Theodore Bikel. Bikel was a singer and Broadway star. He starred in The Fiddler on the Roof and The Sound of Music. He also did some voice work in the Rankin and Bass version of The Return of the King, which we talked about recently. Here, he plays the traveling folk singer and performs one of his original songs in the film. Tootie Wiggins plays the local librarian who befriends our hero. I thought she looked like a cross between a young Maggie Smith and Diana Muldaur of Star Trek. Anyway, she worked mostly in Canadian film and soap operas like All My Children. Oh, and look fast for Slapsie Maxie Rosenbloom. This guy was a real-life boxer. It was none other than Damon Runyon, who hung the moniker Slapsie on Slapsie Maxie due to his fighting style. He later worked his way into character parts in movies. He was in Nothing Sacred and Each Dawn I Die and lots of films. He even opened a famous nightclub called Slapsie Maxie's. This was his final film role, and sadly he doesn't even have any lines. Our star, though, is Ted Eccles. He worked in a lot of stuff, mostly in the 1970s. He was in the Croft Super Show and the Banana Splits. He was in some episodes of The Waltons and played a young FDR in the miniseries Eleanor and Franklin. Later, he gave up acting and moved into marketing, working on advertisements for some famous shows and films like Sister Act, Pretty Woman, The Lion King, and Beverly Hills Cop. This film does have another wilderness connection. Dan Haggerty, who went on to play Grizzly Adams and was uncredited here, but he was one of the animal handlers. So, I gotta say, I really enjoyed this one. I read the book years ago and kind of want to revisit it now. Of course, no kid could do what Sam does in the book today. He pretty much just runs away from home, for one thing. Not because he's unhappy, he just wants to try living on his own in nature. That wouldn't fly now. Probably a good thing. I hope they never remake this movie, because you know what they'd do with it. No thanks. Anyway, my side of the mountain is pretty good for what it is. I enjoyed it. The scenery is nice, the kid is pretty good. The movie isn't trying to do the Disney thing, but it does have a slight Disney vibe, albeit without the syrupy pablum of Disney. Kind of Disney adjacent. Back when Disney still made good stuff for family viewing. So I'm giving my side of the mountain 2.5 paws up. Well, I guess I've had enough nature for now. It's really pretty out here, but kinda tired of these bugs everywhere, so I guess I better go on home. I just have to... Wait a minute. Now let's see, which way do I go? Where to park? Was it over? No. And let's see, if lichen grows on a tree, it faces north. When the tree has fallen over, no, that's not how that goes. Well, I'll figure it out. Anyway, you take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one. I hope. Now, which way? Is it over there? Do I go over there?